good. This is ridiculous. And I really stewed about it. So I called the manufacturer of the transmitter and told him, and he's dealt with this issue in the past. And he began giving me some advice about people to contact in the FCC, and he suggested if you had any political connections in the state, you might want to appeal to them. Well, it just so happens that Fritz Graham is Senator Wyden's aide, and Fritz is from Staten, and I know the Grahams pretty well. So I called Fritz and I told him what was going on, and he couldn't believe it. And he listens to the station quite a bit when he's out of the area because that's how he gets his hometown news. And he likes the music. He just likes the folksy aspect of the station. So he promised me that he would gather some more information and he would talk to Senator Wyden and see if there was something that they could do. So in the meantime, I thought, I need to put some pressure on the FCC. This is ridiculous. Because they wouldn't answer my calls. They wouldn't take my calls directly and talk to me about this inspector or this issue. So I called Katie Muldoon back at the Oregonian. I said, Katie, this is Ken Cartwright. She goes, well, congratulations. How was the wedding? And I said, great, but got a problem. I said, you told me when you did this story if I was ready for all the publicity, and I thought I was. But you also told me there was a possibility that could bring some negative things, and I said it just surfaced, and I got to tell you what happened. So I told her the story of the FCC, and she couldn't believe it. I said, would you look into this maybe and do a follow-up story about the wedding present he gave us? She said, yeah. She said, that's a good angle. So she did. She called Ben Din and talked to him, and what she found out was that he said a couple of people had made a complaint to her, or to him, about our station, but she didn't find out who made the complaint. But at least he did reveal to her that it was more than reading about it in the paper. There were some complaints, which we found out later who it was. But anyways, when she began to press him about this, he got really rattled, and she did the story and ran the story, and all of a sudden everybody all over the world picked up that story, and they were calling the FCC to find out if this is really true. Did you really shut down a 1/10 of a watt radio station because they were going 14 blocks? And he got chastised by his bosses, and they wouldn't let him talk to the press anymore. The FCC wouldn't talk to the press anymore. So by this time, Wyden's office had a lot of information about it. And so they called the FCC, and the first thing out of the FCC's mouth in Washington, D.C. was, oh, we're quite aware of the KENC issue in Oregon, and the bad advice that our inspector gave him about disconnecting his ground on the antenna, because our concern is if there's a lightning strike and it hits that antenna and it burns the building down or destroys equipment or, God forbid, injures somebody, who's responsible with advice like that? So to make the story short, December the 15th, I got a call from the FCC after 2 more visits by this inspector to try to convince me that I was wrong. He finally called me up and he said, Mr. Cartwright, based on legal advice from the FCC, we are advising you to reconnect your ground, retune your antenna back to 100 milliwatts, and there'll be no more field strength meter reading issues. I said, so in other words, go back to the way I was, everything is okay. Yes. I said, so what changed your mind? Well, I can't discuss that. I said, so why did you come down here to begin with? By then I knew who called the FCC on me. And he said, well, I can't discuss that either. I said, so all this misery and agony that you put me through was for nothing? He said, Mr. Cartwright, if you'll send us an email verifying that you've done what I just suggested, we'll dismiss this. I said, okay, Merry Christmas. So I hung up and immediately sent an email to him, and we're back on the air. We're operating. I'm waiting for a letter from them telling me that I'm compliant and that there is no issue. And for me, the moral of the story here is, or my lesson is, that if you really feel that you're right about something, honestly right, and you've been heavy-handed by anybody, you need to stand up for your rights and fight for it. And I have to say that my community really rallied. Many friends from around the area rallied. The media rallied. I'm a lucky man. But Kate Yancey is up and running, and life is good.
Great.
Fantastic.
Great. Can I say one? You know, it just goes to show you, Conan, there's still hope for you. You know that? And if Ken don't mind me saying this, he's a wonderful man. I always did appreciate Ken. And to the FCC gentleman that come out there, that clown, excuse me, the guy from FCC. Gorilla, I'm sorry, his name's Gorilla. You know, I hear that they're hiring techs down at Circuit City. So we'll kind of look on the news, see what happens to you, okay, buddy? Hey, come on down in the ghetto. We got a place for you. See you later, buddy.
Okay, it's a little loud. Just take off.
Darling, Lord, listen to me.